Hi everyone, my name's Lily. I am on Team 417 SKID, and I am going to tell you how to create a Inspire Award winning notebook and everything you need to put into it. So what is the notebook? The notebook to a lot of teams is a hassle, and I'm not saying it's not, but it's very important. Generally, it should include all the information about everything that happened over your season, from anything that happened in team meetings, design process, outreach, and business plan. Method of communication. The notebook is such an underrated communication tool within your own team. Because as you know, things during the season can get super busy with some team members not coming to every meeting. Sometimes you just have 8 tasks going on all at the same time, all while you have outside schoolwork and jobs and extracurricular activities. So if you can keep your notebook up to date with your daily entries, writing down what you did and what needs to be accomplished every time you meet, it can be used as a great form of communication so that everybody is updated on what's happening. So the first and bulk of your notebook is going to be your daily engineering entries. And I don't really mean daily, it's however many times you meet. So our team meets between 3 and I guess sometimes 7 if it's getting close to Worlds times a week. And so we have an entry for every single one of those meetings. We have every entry should be answering the questions who, what, when, where, why, how. You should always include pictures if you have prototyped something, or inside your CAD, it really is a picture is worth 1,000 words. And so it's way easier, instead of explaining what you CAD'ed, just show. But it also does need an explanation of why does it look like that? Because there was a team that was at the British Columbia Championships last year, and their robot they made look like the Tesla truck. So the robot was a triangle, and it was really interesting, and they were a rookie team. They had no idea what to do for judging. And so I asked them, why does it look like that? And then I got that answer. And so that why component can be a very important piece to the puzzle. And your daily entries don't have to be perfect. You can use slang, no sentences, bullet points. You can write because as BC. It shows that you are just keeping up to date. It's not a formal thing. Oh, hold on. I am going to show you an example of one of our entries. So this is from the 2nd, so a couple days ago. Here's what our team did. You can see that we have the title, first meeting of October, so obviously we have to name it. It's finally spooky season. We have our date and the members present who all came. We have a quick chart that generally shows these are the things, and a 1-sentence reflection or result on what happened. So it's quick to see, and if you want more details, you scroll down. So as you can see, we had a team check-in. This was actually a virtual meeting. Picture of CAD design for the inside of the collector. Just general figuring out how CAD works. A drawing for an idea of the chassis, and then our programmer gave us an update on how she was working with OpenCV so that we can find the rings in Autonomous. And then we also have action items, what needs to be done for the next week. So scrolling down here, as you can see, there were more tasks on this day. And then this is actually a place where we did testing. So I want to point out that. So we tested the friction between the ring and a different type of material. And so I need to add in the equation of how you do testing. But as you can see, I've clearly said, here we go. And then look at like little notes in the experiment. So we discovered that if the polycarb was super scuffed, the ring pretty much stayed on till it was almost vertical. Maybe it was a fluke, maybe it wasn't, but just an observation. And then I have 2 bullet points of here is what we took away from this situation. Okay, and then where's my mouse? I'm gonna turn around this way. Go back to the presentation. Okay, next we have our outreach entries. Again, this should be answering who, what, when, where, why, how, but it should also be showing the impact that you made on whatever you did for outreach. And of course, pictures, because you don't just want to look at a whole bunch of words. So this picture is one that we have included in one of our outreach entries. It is actually of me when we were in Botswana, and so we can see the 2 people that I was working with, they're building Legos, and I was there helping them like find the right pieces and follow the instructions because there were a couple language barriers being in a different country, and they've never worked with these Lego pieces before. So I'm going to go back out and again show an example of an outreach entry. So this is from last year. We went to the British Columbia kickoff event and we had a table and talking to the new rookie teams because there were about 30 rookie teams in British Columbia last year that were at this event. So as you can see, we have a picture. We have our date, team members present, and this time we put the hours spent because that's more important for outreach. So we have a quick summary of what we did. And again, our grammar is not perfect. Google's even telling us that with the blue little squiggly lines. And we have the impact that we made on these teams. So we took these teams from knowing 0 information about FTC to, what? There's a notebook? Oh, really? This is how you program? Or we have to present to the judges? I even had a dude come up to me who I was talking to him about how we decided on our strategy, and he's like, I'm so surprised that you are actually telling us all this, because he thought that this was going to be like some secret big like super competition. And so that's where we were also able to tell them about first core values of gracious professionalism and cooperation. And so there's always an impact, even if you don't really think there's a big impact. There's always something you can come up with. And then we also had individual reflections. Okay. Next is the business plan. This is usually pretty important because it's one of the things that in past years has really been the deciding factor on, oh, you have a business plan? That means you're eligible for the Inspire Award. If you don't, you're not. On the first website, when you're looking at engineering notebook requirements and all that, business plan, sustainability plan, team plan, they're kind of all the same thing. It's trying to get at the same information. So it should include information about your team. Demographics, which is like male, female ratio. Like our team, 417, for the past 5 years has been 4 girls, 4 boys. And that's just like a unique little like tidbit that we always put in there because it also shows history and diversity among the team. We also put in the fact that our team is from all different ages and from within like a 70-mile radius of each other from where we meet. So like, I'm one of the most north people on the team. We have people on the team who live 40 miles south of where I do, and we meet like in the middle. This would also include if you're a school team or a privately like community team. You should also include your mission. Your mission statement is, why are you a team? What are you hoping to learn from being a team? And then how your teams run. So one of the things that judges want to see is, how is your team making decisions? So we literally put in our business plan the steps we take to make a decision quickly and efficiently. And then sponsors and budget, that's pretty self-explanatory, but where is all your money coming from and how are you spending it? Just keeping track of all the team financials. And then lastly is sustainability. So how are you making sure that your team can still be a team for years to come? Our team is 11 years. 2007 was the first season of 417. So how are you going to make your team be a team for the next 13 years like ours has? This can also be where you showcase how much learning you do student to student. Like, I, as a returning member of the team, work closely with one of our rookies to pass down everything that I've learned, and then most of what I learned is from what somebody passed down to me. So you keep passing down that information, and the judges specifically want to know stuff like that and how you recruit new team members. Okay, and after I've told you everything about the engineering notebook, it's not even required this year. But I would still highly recommend keeping a complete record, because judges are allowed to ask for your full notebook if they want to know more about your team. So instead of the notebook, you're going to submit a 15-page engineering portfolio. And this is also how they are determining who gets what award. So screenshot straight out of Game Manual Part 1, the engineering portfolio is a short and concise summary of your team's engineering notebook. Down at the bottom, you can see that they want really concise thoughts. You should see a complete documentation, so it should still include everything about your team, and they compare it to like your team's CV or resume. In past years, if you are a returning team, you'll notice that there used to be a requirement where you would purposely bookmark 10 highlighted entries and those are your 10 entries that you want the judges to look at that will represent your team the best. So what we are planning on doing is, just like we would pick those 10 entries, it's pretty much turned into the engineering portfolio. So choosing what entries to highlight in your portfolio and what to include is going to be one of the key things to success. It should, like I said earlier, it should still be a complete timeline of your whole season. It should include things about your engineering, outreach, and team information. So starting with your team information, you should still include some demographics about your team, and your mission statement, because that's probably one of the most important areas. For engineering, testing, prototyping, design processes, these should be things that are really easily seen. Our team does component summaries to where we have kind of like a timeline of the certain parts. So we'll start with like a drawing on paper of our chassis, and we'll explain how it's a document of how we came up with the design, what it looks like, the different phases it went through. And then there's also a picture of the final chassis all put together. And we do that for every component. And then I would recommend put a full list of your your outreach. Just have a list of all the outreach entries you did. So our list has the name and a quick description of what it was, and then how many people it served. So like for this event, we would say participated in AfterGlow presentations, made presentation about Notebook in working with all the different teams that are also doing this. And then we would say live event, blah, 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 however many people tune in to see it. And then you can even, if you have extra space, it doesn't hurt to include entries that you're very proud of, like your testing, an outreach event that you really liked, or like something special that could really only be about your team. And the last tip I have, that's probably one of the most important things, is that your notebook should be clear enough that an idiot could read it and know exactly what you're talking about. So idiot's probably not the word to use, but worded better, anybody random walking off the street should be able to look at your notebook and say, this is the business plan, this is where your engineering entries start, and here's all the outreach you did. They should also clearly be able to point out each different section and I guess your portfolio. They should be able to clearly find your portfolio. So just as one more requirement is your team number has to be on your notebook and on your portfolio. It has to be on the front page, no exceptions, otherwise you can't even be judged. So thank you. I will still be available for questions after this on the chat. For more information about the notebook and specific requirements, you can go to Game Manual Part 1. You can contact us at 417SKID at Sword Robotics and our Instagram at 4